but no, there's something called Y2Q, which is coming your way. We don't know when, but it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. But here's a startup that protects you and says you have to be quantum ready. And we're going to talk about quantum cryptography, which is very different from all those software application, security applications out there. I've got Sunil with me and I've got Prithvi with me from QNu Labs. And guys, welcome. Thank you for being so patient with me because it took me a while to understand what you do. You want to quickly tell our audience what is QNu all about?
Yeah, thanks Vishal, pleasure to be here. So QNu is about, I would say, a revolution that we are trying to create. And it is about while you see all across us, different industries, everybody is trying to make sure that systems are interconnected.
Correct.
Data is extracted, mined, used. But so what we are saying is basically, is a cliche that data is a new oil. But when we go and ask about how safe is this oil, how safe is the data, I think a lot of questions start coming up, right? And I think today we believe that with everything, whether you take it defense, whether you take any critical infrastructure, every critical system today is built on information technology. And there is a more and more dependence on data. So we said if data is going to be so critical, then how do we protect it when there will be systems and computers available which will hack and break the encryption just because data is so valuable. And another important thing is that data is something that which is lifetime of data is probably about 10 to 15 years, which means if anybody steals data from me today, whether it's my financial record, whether my health record or any personal data, if I lose the data today, I'm actually exposed and vulnerable for the next 15 years. So the question is that how do we protect this vulnerability so that nobody is able to take away my data and decrypt it and expose it.
So and when you say quantum cryptography, you want to explain what quantum cryptography is and why it's different from quantum computing. Prithvi, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, what quantum cryptography ensures is that the key that is used in classical encryption goes, with quantum cryptography, we're separating the key that is used in encryption of the data on something called a quantum channel. So the key goes separately and is encoded with light or photons of light, which is called qubits, and these qubits are sent over a quantum channel. The idea is that they're sent as a single photon of light, which means that if you try to tap into that single photon, the whole system perturbates. So quantum cryptography is based on our solution is based on something called quantum key distribution, which is based on two very fundamental principles of quantum physics, which is one is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which means you can neither tap into the position or the momentum of a state at the same time, and the second is the no cloning theorem, which means even if you try to tap that, you can't really clone it or copy the data. So this is probably the real crux of where quantum cryptography and QKD, as we call it today, is what we do. So the key that we are using in encryption is what we are leveraging.
And by the way, guys, in simple terms, right, you can try as much as you want. Your data doesn't get lost, right? It doesn't get copied. Simple as that, right? So if your hackers are out there, think about this, right? So you tell me, in at its heart, you're a physics company in many ways, right?
Yes.
You want to tell me why?
So we are actually an interdisciplinary company where we have physicists with us. We have people who know how to build the next generation hardware. We have people who understand optics engineering, which is again a very integral part of this technology that we're building. And also we have people who can actually understand security, right? How do we build security and what are the fundamental principles of a secure system?
It's a good combined team.
Yeah, so it is that's the reason it's not easy to build a team in this space. But we have been very fortunate to have built this team, and a lot of good people have come together. And the whole idea is that how do we bring this multidisciplinary team together and build something that will save the world from Y2Q.
You want to tell them that Y2Q is not here today, but it can happen.
Yes.
You want to explain that it's mostly motivated by state actors, large countries, rogue nations that can attack us with quantum computers, and that's why we need quantum cryptography.
And just to add to that, although quantum computers may take some time, the algorithms that work
Already
on
exist.
the quantum computers already exist. People have published it, and they can work on those quantum computers to crack all existing cryptography today. So I mean, if you want to just
The
add.
Shor's algorithm, which is available today, has been available for a few decades now.
What's that algorithm called?
Shor's algorithm.
Shor's algorithm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So today people are actually running Shor's algorithm on a classical computer, right? And in an efficient way, and been able to demonstrate that they can actually crack the RSA key.
Any key.
RSA key, any RSA key they can do. Of course, Shor's algorithm is a probabilistic algorithm, so sometimes it will take much longer, sometimes it will take shorter, sometimes it may not be able to do it. But this is a possibility. Now with Shor's algorithm being there, it has come, breaking encryption is come in the realm of possibility.
Okay, you have to tell any enterprise watching today. They say, I have secure networks. You know, when they say that, then what are the fundamental questions that you throw at them so that they take you seriously?
Yeah, so networks are secure, definitely, but there's an assumption, underlying assumption under that encryption is sound, and it is not possible for people, humanly possible for people to break it. But that has been the past. Now today we have an evidences there that if somebody comes up with a smarter algorithm that we know already exists, and if people have patience and money, then they have the.
And state actors have money. They can pump in a lot of money.
That is the biggest
this.
challenge. Today we have state actors who have supported by a lot of money and resources, and that's what we say. If somebody has unlimited resources with them and a will,
they
then
can break it.
Then
So it's gone beyond the realm of hackers.
Yes,
Right.
yes, that's
Exactly.
right. Yeah.
It's real cyber terrorism, would you call it?
Yeah, yes, sort of, right? And because the way this is going to be used is to take not money, it is gone beyond money. This data, once you have, you can actually manipulate to change the government decisions. You can bring down governments. You can change a lot of things.
Think about it, right? Iran had its nuclear facility attacked. Hillary's email was stolen, like we spoke about earlier. So there are multiple examples.
National secrets are at stake today. That's the reason the defense is one of the key sector who are very particular about. Even if the chance of this happening today is 0.01%, according to them, still they can't take the chance.
Okay, and your co-founders are from this industry? Are they from varied walks of life again?
So so co-founders come from different industry, and I think that's what we needed, a company like us.
Anil
Dr. Anil Prabhakar came. He's a guy from optics. He's run optics lab for many years in IIT. So that is what the key expertise is there, and of course he's also from physics background.
Okay.
Then we had Mark Matthias, a co-founder who has built a best-in-class innovative hardware many times in his lifetime. Right. So this requires a lot of expertise in hardware aspect. I have come from a background where I have been always get excited about new technologies and the possibility of leveraging this technology to solve business problems. Right. So I've done that many times in my life. And then Prithvi, part of the founding team, and she has been again done multiple startups, and she's part of a couple of them, and she's a sort of a startup evangelist for us, right?
That's nice.
And then what she does is that brings a lot of energy and.
I think so too. I mean, I didn't know till today she was an arts student, philosophy major.
That's
That's
right.
amazing. So all you guys out there
Convert
thinking
from science
yeah,
to
exactly. I mean, it's not all about being scientists. You can also be from the arts background, but you can be an evangelist.
Yeah.
I also want to ask you this, right? How difficult was it for the last 3 years? I mean, you've got 6 or 7 clients now ready in the pipeline. You've got a good revenue pipeline that's going to be ready from starting this year. Those 3 years were very important. I want you to tell the audience that R&D is the most difficult thing, but it's the most joyful thing, and you have to invest time in these kind of things, right? You want to take this?
Right. So I mean, I think for us the journey so far, I mean, we had to be patient. We were dealing with things that were so precision level optics and dealing with single photons on fundamental level that to even establish proof of science for a while, to get these protocols and synchronizations in place took us a while. And although yes, the team got impatient and we did have a lot of times when we were demotivated, the real joy, or the real, I would say, icing on the cake was the validation we were getting from the ecosystem, from I think incubators, from accelerator programs and investors. I think today's investors really have the patience to invest in deep tech and say, okay, it will take time, but we do realize the value proposition. So
did you guys raise money for this?
Oh, we did. We
You
have.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
I think the key was, just to add to what Prithvi said, a lot of time we had tough times as well, because when things are not working. But I think the key was that the mission in front of all of us was so big, right, that we are actually bringing something new to the world.
It's completely new. I thought you would be another security application,
Yes.
but it's completely different.
Especially for India
Yes.
and Asia Pacific, we felt we will be the first one to have brought this in India and build something which we'll feel proud of. And this is a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah,
A lot of young people are there in our company,
I'd agree.
right? And at so early in your career, if you are able to do something like this,
It's something beautiful, and
Yeah.
it's mind blowing because it had its, correct me if I'm wrong. China did this a few years ago. That's when the government came to a couple of your co-founders and said, "Can we do this from India?"
Yes.
That was the genesis of the
That was
company.
the trigger.
And you want to tell me what is the China example and why it's so important that India did this also?
So China did an experiment where they demonstrated, in a nutshell, they demonstrated a capability far ahead of everybody else in the world, even far ahead of US. And in fact, US also got woken up and said, and that is where you see now the government, Congress has actually gone ahead and invested significant amount of money and committed money for quantum research. So I think China actually realized it way ahead of everybody else, and that demonstration meant that China has a defensive and offensive capability.
And that was doing some, you said something on a video, right? I mean,
they did
transferring data.
Yeah, so they actually launched a satellite and they demonstrated a video conferencing application connecting Vienna in Austria and couple of cities in China.
And what was the end purpose of that exercise?
It's showing that you're showing a quantum key distribution
Across the satellite.
Across the satellite. So which means that
It's beyond fiber, it's free space,
Free.
and it's demonstrating that you can actually send a single photon up to
Information.
exactly.
and that also happened with the background saying that they're already building a quantum backbone fiber across the China.
Okay,
Which means all the major cities will be connected in a sort of a quantum network. And if you have quantum safe encryption there, this means they're building a.
So India doesn't have a single line of quantum fiber?
No, so we have, good part is that in the last few years, India has actually built a huge fiber network right up to the even.
But it's quantum fiber, is it?
No, it's not. Fiber
It's
is
not,
common.
okay.
I think the technology that you put on top of it makes it
is
quantum.
what
Okay.
we are doing.
Okay, so it's basically that a box that can sit at the encryptor layer of any
That's
network,
right.
right? That's
So
what you tell
That's
me.
what we are saying. Now we take and put our quantum boxes co-located with the encryptors in the network so that that optical link will become quantum ready.
So correct me again, the hackers, when they come and put in a bot, they harvest some form of data and they wait for the algorithm to break the key. That's when they steal your data.
Yes.
In your case, it's never going to happen once your box is
They may get the data, but they will never be able to get
Open
the
it.
key.
Key.
to
They will
open
never
it,
have
right?
the key.
Yeah.
Right, and that happens to the photons, right? You want to
Yes.
explain about your photons and that you want to explain about entropy also and how
Yeah.
you use it?
So essentially, what this does is it takes a single photon of light and it modulates it or changes its phase or uses some protocol that a proprietary protocol, which ensures that the photon is encoded. And this photon, because of the way it is generated and because of the entire quantum random number generator that is within this box, the entropy is 100%. So this line will be unconditionally secure. So it ensures that there is no way in which a number could be replicated on that quantum channel.
Okay.
So it's 100% random, 100% entropy.
Guys, those watching it, you might not find this interesting because you might get your data going, but in the backbone, it's really important that this is a new era of attacks, right? And cryptography ensures that these guys don't come steal your keys. By the way, all your keys, right? Existing keys could have been stolen. That's something that you want to tell them too.
Yeah, but today the way we call it, people store the keys like under the mat.
Yes.
Right? Not knowing that how critical it is for not only to encrypt the data, first of all. A lot of data is not encrypted even today. So how it is important, and I keep telling that ransomware guys, they figured out a lot of guys who don't encrypt it. So what they do is they come and encrypt the data and now ask you to pay the money to decrypt
That's how
it.
the blackmail you.
So rather than why don't we go and encrypt our data, and then second question comes up is how good this encryption is.
Okay.
So so of course what we need to do is make sure that that you use a safe keys, you use quantum keys, and then keep those keys, store those keys in a vault, and keep refreshing those keys.
And by the way, their keys get refreshed real time, and they change all the time.
So that the possibility of insider threat also is not there. Somebody accessing those keys and stealing that is not
Who's
there.
your end audience? I mean, the CTO comes and talks to you, or of an enterprise, or who do you sell this to? Who should get this? I think the CEO should come here and talk about these things.
See, to me, given that nature of the seriousness of this business, right, data, and it, as I said, if somebody hacks the data and breaks into this encryption, you can actually bring down the whole organization. So I think the key person who should be interested in this is the CEO, right? Because, and of course from there you get to the CTO, CIO, because whoever is concerned about business and about data, and today, that we say it is not your data anymore, right? All this Facebook and Google, you're seeing that the data regulations have come in, where you are actually having customers' data. And it is the enterprise's responsibility to
protect it.
First of all, use the data for what you have taken. Second thing, protect it at any cost. So we believe that it's a huge implication.
Yeah, it is scary. It's not happened to me, but I see a lot of people complaining that their credit card data was stolen in a couple of retailers. I don't want to name them.
That is very easy to do. What people are now talking about, that you can actually hack the data coming in and out of the ATM machines.
So they know that they can perpetually clone my ATM card.
They don't have to do that. They can actually tap the data on optical fiber connecting or LAN connecting.
And transfer the money.
And collect not your card, all the card data, whoever is actually using ATM machine and sending the data.
So they get even the last three digits also.
Everything.
Wow, that's very scary.
So that's the worry we have. Right?
So tell these, I know you have three business models. You have an enterprise model and you have a model for government enterprises where they can buy your box. And then there's a model where you can license to OEMs with manufacturer supply, and then you can service them. The third model was another service model. Should startups sign up with you also?
Yeah, service model we believe.
Say we have 20 unicorns.
Yeah.
Should they come to you also?
So I think we believe that in another 2 years timeline, I think the quantum networks will be established.
Okay.
It's like a highways. You build national highway. Whoever uses the highway, you pay a toll. We believe that likes of large telecom service providers like Jio, Airtel and others, Vodafone, they will actually invest
in these kind of
in building the quantum network, and they will ask enterprises to hop onto their network and use their network. For example, an enterprise in Bangalore wants to transfer a very confidential data to an enterprise in Delhi. They will hop onto this, hop on and hop off, right? You'd get there, use it.
So would you consider yourself the bridge and the toll? When you are the protection.
So we are the infrastructure people. We will provide the infrastructure to this
technology
people, or we can actually run as a service where we can own the infrastructure, say for a data center, and we charge them for the amount of quantum keys that they are using it.
Okay. Right? If a startup has reached say about 50 million revenues, 100 million revenues in the services space, or say most of the unicorns are services, it's B2C, right? Say be it IT services or consumer services, should they come to you?
If they should come to us, if their data is the key to their business. For example, if you're running a blockchain.
Nice.
A blockchain is based on encryption.
Especially
right?
smart contracts.
Yes.
Yeah. So you are saying that you are doing a distributed ledger and you're distributing the data across, but that needs to be secure.
Okay.
Right? If you're doing blockchain, yes. If you're doing a fintech, it's very, very critical for us to do that.
Okay.
And maybe tomorrow, even if you're doing IoT, when we do a free space, because the data will get exchanged between two entities.
Okay. Would you like to leave your email ID so that people can ask that can we demo with you or something? Would you have an email?
Yeah, so they can write into info@QNu Labs.
Okay, guys, see, if you got to be quantum ready because people are here to steal your data, not just have fun with it, right? So they write to info at
QNu Labs.
That's
QUNU
Labs.in. So that's info at QNuLabs.in. So that's great. So you have a startup business model also. You can sell to them. That will be more of a subscription.
That's right.
That you earlier said it'll be 200 GB of data secured, quantum ready.
Quantum ready with the.
What do you mean by that?
So essentially, if somebody is doing say 200 GB of data every day and they want to secure that using quantum keys, we charge them based on the keys that they would put. So everybody is quantum ready today. They're not waiting for somebody to come and hack into their database, but they are ready to move to the next paradigm of.
The challenge is that your data lifetime is 15 years. If you lose the data today, after 2 years you don't want to hear a a case against you, or you suddenly want to read in the newspaper.
Yeah, especially with the policies today, they will take you. You'll probably have to shut down your company with the fines.
That's what the challenge.
Right? And Priti, you have to tell me, how difficult is it to create a narrative for a company like this, completely new, obviously with physics, a bit of software, physics, and a combination of hardware too. How difficult is it for you to sell these gentlemen to the audience out there?
Right. So, I mean, it has been challenging, definitely. But I think the exciting part is when somebody hears quantum, they immediately say, hey, I want to know a little more. I mean, just from a knowledge perspective and from a place where they believe that this is something. See, I feel like somewhere fundamentally people believe in hope. They want to see a better tomorrow. They want. So it has been challenging to explain quantum, to explain, our team and how we go about it. But there is always a sliver of hope that people want to know about it.
That's where the CEO needs to get involved.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, do you go sell to CEOs yourself with the narrative? Do they get it off the bat?
They do. I mean, it's challenging, no doubt. But the idea is that you have to create a narrative that makes sense to them in selling fear and then selling hope.
What's the typical opposition, right? Do they ask you how much do I have to spend on this? What is my ROI? Are they the question?
No, I think the ROI people still get it. I think the bigger one is about why should I do it now? Right? Because people say, oh, I haven't heard about it. So
let me do it when somebody gets hit.
Let my neighbor get hacked and I will do that, right? It's always insecurity is that.
Yes.
And unlike Y2K, nobody is going to come and announce to them that's going to happen on this day. So I think it's just that the whole awareness around encryption and possibility of that being weak, whom we have been trusting for so long. I think that understanding, overcoming that is a.
Okay. How important was Cisco Launchpad for you? You were part of that
cohort.
Cohort.
It actually came to us at the right time, and it's really helped us a lot because we were at a stage where we had just got our POC, proof of concept there. We were looking for a partner who could actually validate what we've been doing and also help us integrate some initial early integration with their product as a proof of concept. Yes. Right?
And you can go to market with
that. And a lot of support came from them. We quickly could integrate and demonstrate that it is so easy for anybody to get quantums ready. It doesn't take months of implementation and a huge science and something. It's just a matter of probably a couple of days that we can integrate our product with any of the encryptors and OEMs.
Okay.
I think that became and that is also being liked a lot by investors and a lot of customers because it's so easy. It's a non-invasive, no disruption. So basically, our technology, if you see, when we take it to the field, no wire is changed,
so
no boxes
are replaced,
nothing is uprooted. It is simple, easy upgrade. Right? That's what we are.
So the chief security officer can use it immediately?
Yes. Yes.
And obviously you're also into service element dashboards and stuff. You said your photons would go crazy if somebody is attacking you.
Yeah, so that is one area we are working on because it's so invisible science.
Correct.
So we are now trying to see how do we
gamify,
extract things and which is visible.
Something meaningful out of it.
On a day-to-day basis.
I mean, I would say it's for a dumbed-down version for people like me, right? You would feel excited, oh, somebody's attacking me and your company saved me or something like that. It's as childish as that. But do you really need to do that as a deep science company? Is it important? Because it's probably a marketing spiel for the clients. That's it. I don't know.
No, I think initially it is important for people to realize the value.
Okay, that's
right?
why you got to do that.
Because otherwise what happens is sometimes the presence of it is more important rather than absence of it. Right? If I just put the box and no hack has happened.
People wouldn't know the.
Right. Yeah. So sometimes you have to demonstrate that what it is actually.
And adding to your earlier question when you said, was it difficult? This was one of the. They're like, how do we know what's happening on the quantum channel? What is going on?
That's why you got to build this.
So we have to build something meaningful for people to really appreciate and consume. So.
Okay. The other thing is, I would also say that beyond the science, you guys must be reading something else, right? So what are you guys reading currently?
See, I read different type of things. The two books that I'm reading right now is one is about platform. Actually, this is about
it's called platform.
The platform, and it's all about how do we create network effects. So we are trying to explore that. How do we because our product is still under different use cases will emerge. So we are trying to see how do we see it. QKD as a platform and how it's and how do we create a network effect with users and the ecosystem so that we can actually make it more in the in the more.
The book's called Platform?
The book is called The Platform. Yeah.
Do you remember the author? Would you?
No, actually.
But it's called The Platform, right? Okay, I'll put the name of the author in the
It's
Facebook
very
page.
very well written. I've read
Okay.
it 2 times and I'm reading it the 3rd time.
Okay.
And then there is a book called The Tilt.
Okay.
That talks about how do you go, how this value proposition can change for a company as you go down the stream, right? And so I think I'm in very early stage of this book, but I like the type of examples they've given. It's very interesting, and these are 2 books that I'm.
That's interesting. What are you reading?
I mean, on the contrary, I'm reading something totally different. It's called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
And your name means Earth too, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's basically about looking at our lives a little differently.
Okay.
It's spirituality and philosophy, to come back to some of what I've written. It's the early stages again, but it's basically we're looking at our lives in a very, a manner in which we have conditioned ourselves. But how do we get out of this and really expand the way we think and expand the possibilities of who we are? So it's like a more inward journey, as cliche as that may be.
No, it's not cliche. Most of you guys out there think that you are secure, and you have conditioned your mind in a particular way. And I'm saying, please do go check out QNu Labs. They're going to change things for you. Be quantum ready today, as you guys say it. And Y2Q is around the corner. I don't know when that's going to happen, but you guys can prepare. So, you guys are unicorns, because our data from your story says there'll be 100 unicorns by 2025.
Right.
And imagine when one of you loses data, we're going to write about you in a negative light. You don't want that to happen. So go talk to these guys. Sunil, Prithvi, it's been a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Thank you. And I look forward to hosting you again. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Your story.
We'll do this again when you go live with the client and they give a testimony.
Awesome.
Guys, thank you. And thank you,
Thank you.
Cisco
Thank you,
Launchpad.
guys.
Bye,
See you.
bye,
Bye.
bye. Thanks, guys.